I met her on 19th of October 2003. Now, I was a finalist at the University of Nairobi, and she was a first year. Now, in the Christian Union, I was in charge of orientation, orienting the first years and introducing them to how life is. And in the process of that, I met her. And there's one interesting thing that she said. When we were divided, we went for a retreat in Arboretum. I had never met her before, but I think she had seen me, I think two, 3 days. Yeah, a few days earlier. But I've never seen her. So we were divided into groups, and we were told to come up with like a trick or some riddle that people would not be able to solve easily. And then she came up and said about 4 P's about the life of Joseph. And I said, that's brilliant. Because it was, it was what started with Pete, and then the prison, and then Potiphar's house, and then the palace.
It's the pit, Potiphar's,
yes.
prison,
and then palace. Yes, the 4 P's. And I found that brilliant, and I liked her, and I saw her, and I told myself, this is going to be my wife. First time. I got her name, and we took photos. Normally that when you're a finalist, getting a first year was not a good thing because it was considered gold rush. And I was here supposed to guide and says, you as first years, don't get into relationship. It's your first year in college. Focus on your studies.
Yeah.
But I found her, I loved her, and I booked an appointment. I remember it was on a Tuesday.
Yes.
And I went for coffee. And I think, as they say, the rest is history. Yeah, I met her and I said, this is the wife. And before I even knew her name and so on. And we are married now for 10 years. That's 12 years ago now.
Yeah. And you married me in second year.
Yes, and I married when she was in second year. I didn't wait for her to finish all the 4 years. Yeah.
I was afraid when he came in, we just started talking. And for once in my life, I got someone who can just listen to me. I don't know why it just started. No, I'm talking. I don't know what I was telling him, but he's just nodding. And he's not saying anything. Other times, I think I was just around with people who are never listening to you. But now here he was. For us, we just became very good friends. And he was there for me. He really supported me in first year in terms of telling me how things are done in campus. We were doing 2 different courses, but somehow he was just there for me. Yes, and he was my friend and my first love. So I didn't know how relationships are done, but he was just there and we were very good friends. My parents, I think it was so easy for him to blend in. Yeah, even my dad is a very easy person, so he doesn't mind. He was okay. Yeah.
When eventually we went and told her mom that I need to marry your girl, first I went alone. I went, me and her, and I told them that, look, there has been some changes and I need to marry your girl. But I'm promising you she's going to finish her education. And later my parents were asking me, how could you go? Those things you don't just go alone. You go with wazes, you cannot just walk alone.
Friends.
Or friends. But we just went, the 2 of us. And I was carrying 500 shillings, and I told them, this is for sugar,
You didn't
I didn't have anything. And how those parents received me, I still don't understand to date.
And you're not saying she is pregnant?
Yes, and I told them, yes, and I told them that your daughter is pregnant, and we are planning to marry in November.
We broke the news together. My mom was very scared. And she could not say anything because she already loved him so much. And because she had met him once.
She came for my graduation.
Actually, she came for his graduation.
Yes.
She came for his graduation. And now she was very confused. Number one, I was a church girl. I was actually a CU leader. And here I am, even at home, I'm this girl who should just finish school and do this big wedding where the pastors are coming and celebrating your victory. And here you are, you go to first year, even before you're halfway school, you are pregnant and you want to get married. And my mom was really disappointed, but she didn't even show it. What she told me, you go back to Nairobi, but next weekend, come alone. I knew this is a thrashing weekend now. I'll be, and she will tell me everything. She'll tell me how disappointed she is. So I went back home alone now. This daughter now, come tell me what you're telling me without the boy. And she was so supportive. She was like, it's okay. I think it's not going to be easy for you because we know who you are. We know the status, your status in the village. I know you're a leader in the CU, but may God just help you. And she prayed for me. And of course, now the women were all over there in the village, and they were telling her, now you see, you are hope, because now I'm the only one in campus. That time, your hope now, she won't even finish school. She'll bring her baby here. She just went there and got the Nairobi things. Now, it was like a mixed feeling for her, but she said, she's my daughter. By the end of it all, she is my daughter. Dad was like, that's why I don't like educating girls. Now his friends were telling him that. And he was like, no, if she didn't go to school, she would not have brought me an engineer. So it's still okay. It's still okay for her to go ahead. At least she went and she brought a learned husband. Being a CU leader for me was what was the greatest hunt for me. And so what we did, he had just left school, so he had a church he was attending, Sitam, Valley Road. So there was his pastor, Pastor Wesley. Of course, now he was so worried about me because I'm the one who has this, I'm responsible. I was actually in the top leadership. We call them the executive committee. And I was actually in charge of prayers. He told me, Maggie, I like the way you are so passionate about God. I like the way you're feeling responsible about the CU. I don't want this guilt, this haunt to get out of you. I want you to go and confess in the CU. And I'm like, no, you can't just stand in front of people and tell them, hey, I am this girl, I'm born again, and I'm pregnant. I want to say sorry. It was so difficult, very difficult. But imagine we had to do it. We did it out of our willingness. And he was standing there with me. Actually, I was 1 month pregnant. We got married. He didn't pay any dowry. My dad said, you didn't pay that before the wedding. Yeah. You paid later. The way weddings can't happen before you pay something. This one, he was told, it's okay, you go, you get married. And then later, because he was new, he was a fresh graduate, so he was working. My first job. His first job, and he was not being paid much, so he could not even afford dowry. So we either had to live together without the wedding and wait for that day. Now when he'll afford a wedding, but my dad was like, it's fine, you just go ahead and marry her. Ukijipanga, you just come, and that's what he did.
I think there was one visit. There was one visit by the parents, and then we had the wedding. When we were getting married, we didn't have much money actually. We were having a wedding committee in the graduation square. So we went and we were meeting in graduation square. And our friends supported us, I think our budget was everything. And it was like, what, 200K?
No, 120, 130.
20,
without the clothes.
Without the clothes. But if you add everything else, it was maybe maximum 200 Gs. For the wedding, we had, about 150 or so.
150 to 200. We did. Number one, we didn't know many people because we were still in school, and the people we know are in the village, so you have to ferry them to town for a wedding, and we didn't have money to do that. So most of them actually who attended our weddings were friends. For me, all my friends were students. So a few came, and also him, and it was a beautiful day.
Honeymoon.
Really? Yes. No!
Yes.
There was no honeymoon.
We had honeymoon. You know what we did is that we were broke, huh?
Even a night.
No, we had a night in our house, our own house. We were very broke. Actually, by the time we finished the wedding, those last coins, that was gone. So when we finished,
you got broke the night before the wedding.
Yeah, the night before the wedding, I had the last 200 bob,
and you gave me. I was going to.
And I gave her the fare.
My fare. I was being picked in my aunt's place in Thika, so we went paid fare with my best mate. The boy had no money.
That's it. And so after the wedding, we went home in Isli.
Oh my!
And looking at back, maybe we would have been smarter. We would have looked, because we did the photo session at Sportsview, Kasarani Sportsview, is it? So we thought it was just 3K.
It was not even, I think it was 1,500.
It was 1,500.
To spend a night.
But we
or
remember,
even a meal, dinner.
Yeah.
And show up at night.
Yeah.
We showed up at 6.
After the wedding, we just went
with my gown.
No, but you see,
Sure,
at that time,
funny.
that was the best idea that we had. And we went and locked ourselves into the house for 3 days, and we had a honeymoon in 3 days. We switched over all our phones. Then on the 4th day, we showed up.
Just dropped by a friend. So I have my gown, I have my hair. There's a salon in the, the flats. There are shops in front. Then the residential houses. So the ladies in the salon, they came behind now to the residential entry. So they came and told me, Abu, stop. Your hair is so nicely done. Let's take some photos. So you can imagine I'm getting into the flat. There I've been so I just come in with my gown, white, and then I have the bridal hair set up and all that. And then now they start taking photos. So I think there was a photo session at home. But you can imagine a bride. I would have just come. Maybe I could have just changed and just I'll show up at night. But there was nothing like that.
But I think at that time, that was
We
a
were
brilliant
just
idea.
ourselves.
It was a very brilliant idea.
Yeah,
and,
we look back and we're like,
and we
sure,
laugh at it. Maybe we would have done better. But at that point in time, and maybe we had, older people also to interact with, they would have given us suggestions. Now, all of us were just
were the
fresh
first
graduates.
people
We are the in our gang of
in our
friends,
group.
we are the first people. So nobody had any idea what
How
to do,
these things
how
are
things
done.
are done. So we just, after and again also we are stretched financially. So we, after finishing the wedding, we went home and we had our honeymoon in Italy, section 3. So 3 good nights. A year later we went, and now we went with the normal standard process of the Kikuyu. There are normally 3 stages. The first one is the so-called knowing home, and then the second one you come and you give some Montana Harika or some whatever it is, and then we went through that whole process again. And we were, of course, the normal negotiations goes through, no, bring this, add this. But eventually it went fine, and I'm happy that we settled on that, because initially there was that fear of who could easily elope, but we decided no, we stick to this process, and because the parents gave us the go ahead and their blessings for the wedding, we told them once we put our house in order, we'll come back. And I think one of the things her mom told her is that you're still my daughter, even if whatever happens and
even if the man rejects
bring the baby, I'll bring her up. And I think sometimes this is the support that most girls require. Should something like this happen, she should be knowing that, worst case scenario, I know I can still go home to my mother. And I think this is something that was very profound in her situation. And we are grateful that, the parents gave us their blessings and their support. And we did the wedding. And now, 10 years later, we're still going strong. Yeah. There was no fine. It was just given normal, just the normal standard, the normal setup. So there was no special fine given to me for this. And this is something I'm grateful to the parents of my girl.